Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to my channel. Welcome to another video where we will be continuing our discussion on the teachings of Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita and the correlations to the teachings of Christ and other various philosophical and ideological ideas and teachings. Without further ado, let's get started. Today we'll be revisiting concepts talked about in Matthew 16:24 through 25 / Mark 8:34 through 35 and Luke 9:23 through 24. It's a little sloppy up there. As well as revisiting one of my favorite ones, John 8:32. So Matthew 16:24 through 25 out of the King James Version reads, "If any man will come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross and follow me. For whosoever will save his life shall lose it, and whosoever will lose his life for my sake shall find it." And in the middle, sandwiched between the two Christian teachings, is the Bhagavad Gita, Chapter 2, 71 through 72. "They are forever free who renounce all selfish desires and break away from the ego cage of I, me, and mine to be united with the Lord. This is the supreme state. Attain to this and pass from death to immortality." And John 8:32 reads, out of the King James, "And you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free." We've talked about that Trinity: truth, love, and freedom, right? Love begets truth. God begets Christ, right? Truth, when embraced in mind and body and spirit, leads to freedom, right? Christ, when embraced, leads to a state of freedom, right? So, we've talked about that before. One thing I want to point out before we really dive in any deeper is just the very end of this. It's verse 72. "This is the supreme state. Attain to this and pass from death to immortality." Christianity is not unique in regards to the concept of immortality, right? Being united with the Lord is the supreme state, passing from death to immortality. In the teachings of the Mormon Church, after you are deceased, your heart, the Lord checks the balance of your heart against, how is it worded? Basically, you are judged based on your actions against the desires of your heart, I believe is how it was explained to me by some Mormon folk when I visited their temple out in like Lake Oswego or something. Right, so your actions are judged in accordance with the desires of your heart. It's the same rights of Anubis. Ultimately, your heart is weighed against the feather of truth. Did you stay true to your heart, to your core? And if found in balance, you pass from death into immortality. All right? So, with that being said, the teachings of immortality are not unique to Christianity in any way, shape, or form. All right? So, that being said, let's first dive into the Bhagavad Gita. Right? So, "They are forever free who renounce all selfish desires." Right? So right here, you got deny self, right? We're talking about the desires of the lowercase s self here in favor of the capital S self, the higher self. And break away from the ego cage, right? So there's that whole concept of being bound by the ego, being bound by the lower self, right? Ego cage of I, me, and mine. To be united with the Lord, or to be one with the Lord, or to be one with God, as in I and my Father are one. This is the supreme state. Attain to this and pass from death to immortality. So, right out the gate, and ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. Right? Touching on that forever free who renounce the selfish desires in order to be united with the Lord. Right? To be united with the Lord is to know the Lord. Right? To be one with the Father is to know the Father. And none know the Father but the Son, and none know the Son but the Father. So, going further, up to Matthew 16, 24 through 25. This is actually the reading that's on the board, is Matthew 16, 24 through 25 out of the King James Version, right? KJV. Mark is going to read a little bit differently. Luke's going to read a little bit differently. The same idea is presented in some different language, although sometimes the language betrays the meaning, and that's why language and how you speak is important for the delivered message. If any man will come after me, let him deny himself. So, once again, touching on that. Deny himself and take up his cross and follow me. For whosoever will save his life shall lose it, and whosoever will lose his life for my sake shall find it. So, in the clinging to the ego, right? Clinging to the ego cage, you stay in the ego cage, which keeps you bound to the cycle of death and rebirth, death and rebirth. Okay? But whosoever will lose his life for the sake of the Lord shall find his life. Right? Whosoever denies himself and renounces those selfish desires shall attain to the state of immortality. That's kind of what Christ came to teach, right? What Jesus came to teach in the New Testament was how to attain to and aspire towards immortality and oneness with the Father. Okay? And of course, this also touches on, I believe it's Matthew 10:8. Freely ye have received, freely give. When you give your life away, when you give yourself freely to others, ultimately you find yourself, right? And that's the thing, like, so take a light bulb, for instance. A light bulb only gets to stay a working, operational light bulb when it gives light to the room around it. Kind of like how Christ talks about when the lamp is lit up, it gives light to the entire room. If that light bulb were to cling onto that light and not give it away while power is still running through it, the current overcomes the resistance and breaks the circuit and dies. Like, it kills the light bulb, right? So it's the same concept. Freely ye have received, freely give. That light bulb freely receives that electricity, freely lets go and gives out light. But as soon as it were to try and cling on to that light and not give it away, is when it starts to break the circuit. You know, so again, we're talking about logic, and Krishna talks about being logic too, you know, for those who like to debate in the Bhagavad Gita. But we're talking about the correlations here: logic, logos, the word, Christ, truth, light, right? Know the Lord, know the truth, know Christ, and you shall be made free. Give unto yourself, and you, that's the thing, ultimately, like, the way that I've found that I receive the things that I desire is by helping other people, you know, first get right in mind and body and spirit, and then helping them attain to their desires as well. I believe it is The Legend of Korra, season 3, or maybe it's season 4. I don't recall exactly. It's been a while since I've seen it. But The Legend of Korra, the sequel series to Avatar: The Last Airbender, Uncle Iroh says sometimes the best way to, and this is paraphrased, Sometimes the best way to solve your problems is to help somebody else. And that's just it. Like by helping other people find sanity, I get to keep mine. By, the whole AA program is kind of centered around the idea that you only get to keep your sobriety if you try and help other people find and keep theirs. And it's part of being unified, united, unity. See the concept expressed there, right? AA program, the Christian teaching, the Krishnayan teaching, it's all correlated and connected for a reason, right? Point being, hope you guys are getting the point here. If you are, great. If you're not, keep coming back. No judgment. I didn't always get it, so I'm not going to sit there and look down upon you. Like, seriously, I hope you're getting something out of it. I hope you're seeing that these teachings are present across many, many, many different religions, ideologies, philosophies, and I don't feel that any one particular religion has all the answers. Maybe it does. Who knows? I guess we'll see, but so far the Christian teachings in at least the book of Matthew seem to be logically consistent within themselves and within logic itself, right? And seem to be rather consistent with Hermetic philosophy as well across the 4 canonical Gospels. And same thing with the Bhagavad Gita. It seems to be logically consistent within itself, and then within the Christian teachings, and then within logic itself, within Hermetic philosophy and everything. So I hope you're kind of getting to that point of understanding. If not, just keep coming back. Keep doing research, and trust me, don't take anything that I say as like the final say. Please don't. I'm kind of just a messenger. I am no better than anyone else when it comes to adhering to these things as far as a perfect way of living. So don't use me as a role model. I'm just somebody who likes to read and fuck up a lot. And because of that, I kind of learn how not to live life, and also by doing so, how to live life. Right. So keep coming back. Hope to see you on the next one.